All right, you people are live.
Is the chief coming?
Yeah, I think so. Talked to him yesterday evening, unless he got stuck on a call, which could have.
Well, we really can't do anything if he's not here.
You guys want to do pledge of allegiance?
Really?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. He's on his way.
Oh, okay. Or she or he?
So we don't have no minutes from the workshop or nothing else, okay?
Nothing, honey.
So you wanna go over the minutes for the 27th?
Sure.
What's this cleanup? Is that that trash pickup thing?
No, just in case there's any more questions about any of the budgets or anything.
Make a motion to approve this written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So you guys wanna talk about anything till the chief gets here, or?
What's the, what's all budgets work?
Dan
That's to go over all the budgets?
Over all the
Finalize them?
budgets.
LISS.
One meeting, just go down through them all, and see how we're gonna vote. Basically, cause like the selectmen said,
So I have a summary sheet that I'll give out to everybody that has all the budgets, so we can see what the bottom line is.
Oh, good, okay.
But that's once,
Before we
I don't have
get
that.
into this,
I'll have it once I have the fire departments, what we get tonight. I can put that in there and then we can go over that.
Okay.
And that way if we have to tweak any numbers before we do the vote on the following week, that we can,
Yeah, the voting's on the 20th.
votes on the following, yeah. So next week is kind of go over all the whole number and,
See if they're,
I got 2 items I can bring up that are all installed. I told Chief I was gonna do a comedy routine to install you guys.
So you'll have a full spreadsheet next week?
Right.
I'd much
I have
rather,
it more or less done now, but I don't have the fire CIPs, all that stuff has to get added, which we're doing tonight.
I for one would much rather have the comedy routine.
I know,
go put your suit on, we'll wait.
The board talked last week, last Thursday about some stuff had come up about a special election and about communications. So the board decided it would like to add, a line in the election budget for postage so that we can send out mailings for special elections. The problem is,
There's nothing in there now?
no.
Oh.
We do it out of, we do before the June vote,
Right.
last year, we did like a newsletter that went through all the different referendums and kind of explained them all. And we paid for that out of general government. So that would be under this budget here for postage. If we have a special election, we could do like a postcard, something quick, nice, colorful, bright paint, bright orange, something, just to send it out to everybody, just to help on the communications. Again, hindsight's 20/20, right? That would have been perfect to do this time, but. And we may not have another special election in the middle of the winter for another 10 years, but at least we have it there for that purpose. The November one, probably, again, we don't need anything, because everybody pretty much knows about the November election. I mean, those, even the June one, pretty much everybody knows about it, so it's not, we do the referendum one, which is a newsletter type of thing, just to explain. But, so we wanted to add a line item for 3,000 for postage. So I will, yep, so I will update a budget report.
Evening.
Sorry.
I'll update that.
It's all right, we're having a comedy routine later.
That was for, under general government election.
Which,
So I think that's like 02 or whatever, it's like 01 is general government and 02 is elections.
Okay.
So that's that.
What was the cost, any idea?
3,000.
Yeah, that's that.
I apologize, I've been
All right.
tied up with funeral issues and planning and chiefs meetings. And plus I've been up since midnight.
And up since midnight?
Yeah. We had 2 missed calls right off the bat early morning, and then we went to Sanford for the fire, so it's been busy.
Was it fire in
There
Sanford?
was another fire in Sanford.
Republic Cash last night,
Across from Hannaford.
yeah, across from Hannaford.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Good enough to cover your budget? Out of the cash?
Yeah. So I did a little revising of the budget. I basically, what I brought to you last time was more or less of what we really need to get the department back on track. We are way behind in equipment that's much needed. So basically I revised the whole proposed budget. And then, if you wanna go over that first, or?
Well, yeah, we'll go over the changes.
Okay, so I just made a much, little changes here and there from, I brought it down like $20-something thousand off the budget. I know it's not a lot.
Thank you.
But it's something that I could do, you know? And to make sure that our department members are safe and responding and stuff like that. So I left the wages and payroll, the personal services I took some money out of the per diem wages because I know every day we don't cover a medic every shift. So we may have 2 basic EMTs, we may have an advanced EMT and a basic, and then I'm usually around during the day. So I did take some money out of that.
Which line is that?
It was 07, personal services.
Okay.
And then employee costs, I cut back staff development from 12, I think it was like 12,000 to 10,000. Just to have that extra $1,000 just in case of
Isn't that training though?
training, yeah. I understand, but, I mean, where do we cut the budget? That's the thing. So,
What number was that?
that was the staff development under
That's
10.
05,
five,
employee
10.
hours number 10.
And what originally was line 7?
I had it at 12.
No,
Oh, sorry,
line 7, sorry.
line 7 with wages, I can't remember, it was like.
194, 680.
190, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't have my sheets in front of me, I've been off today, kinda trying to figure it out. So the night wages, that was still, I left that the same, and I'll go over that a little later in this packet. Travel expenses,
They back up, payroll taxes is actually a little higher.
that is
No, I mean, the number's higher than what you're showing.
24,046.
Yeah, it's actually 24,526. That's 7.65%, which is what it is.
Okay, so I'm off by,
Yeah, I'm just,
yeah.
but yeah,
Federal Street?
Nope. Okay. Is that what it was before? I don't think it, 24,526.
Is that what it should be?
That's what it should be, yeah.
He's dropping the payroll anyhow, so it should be less than that then.
No, that's, I've calculated it.
That's now,
Yeah,
okay.
that's based on the 190.
Supplies, pretty much the same except for, I believe the vehicle fuel, I left that as is. Medical supplies, we didn't increase that or decrease it. Uniforms, I did increase that, $750. Utilities, I believe I left all those the same.
Yeah, uniforms was the same as we had before, chief.
Okay.
That didn't change from previous when he
So
talked.
no changes under supplies.
So no changes?
No changes from what he originally presented.
Nothing under supplies?
That's correct.
Repair maintenance. Building, I kept the same. Vehicle maintenance, I believe I had at 25. I dropped that down to 22.
So 26.
26, I dropped it to 22.
26, and you dropped it to 22. Come on. We're spending, we're already way over that now.
I
think it's gonna be,
I think a lot of it, we've actually, even though we've gone over the budget this year, I think we've caught up on some of it.
okay,
But it's gonna be, I think a lot of it's gonna be more or less preventive maintenance next time,
Alright.
and stuff like that.
So that's realistic.
we hope.
Yeah, we hope. Radio maintenance, went to 3,500 on that. That was, I believe, 35 before.
Yeah.
SCBA, I believe that was 25.
Correct.
I decreased that to 2,000. Equipment maintenance, I believe that was
You had it at 12.
12. I kept it at 11. Office equipment, we left that, the equipment line, fire equipment, safety equipment, office equipment. That's at 17.2, is from the same as the year before,
So fire equipment went from 18
down to 15
down,
again.
back down to 15,
Yeah,
and safety went
15 to 1,000, back to 1,000. Outside services, that's at 4,000. Software, we actually, that was a new line item this year.
Hmm.
So that's to pay for our reporting systems and stuff like that. Technology, that's actually for the iPads, cell phones, and so on. Medical director, we eliminated that. Hydrants, that's still the same. Paramedic intercept, we kept the same. And I did increase the billing fees to $600. Dues and subscriptions, I went up just a little bit, $125. Medical physical, we kept the same. Right now, the medical physical, there's only, basically it's the new people coming in, or like me, I have to go every year now because of my age. So. I know. Yeah, well, it is what it is. So that's the budget. So I decreased the budget. I can't remember the exact number. Just to try to make it more fiscally responsible. I know it's still over what some people want, but we still need to purchase the right equipment for everybody, and I don't want to see another event happen in small town USA that everyone kept saying before. It never happened in small town, and it just did. So.
So just everybody, the total on that is $499,503
Oh, okay,
at the top there. Because of that payroll tax number,
yeah.
Can you repeat that?
499,503.
Thank you.
And that's Mr. Spreadsheet doing it, not me.
That's, so, the next page is capital improvement funds. I know last year we talked about how much do we put in every year, to maintain, a fund for fire trucks, for equipment, for SCBA's. And I thought this year being I was being conservative on that one. Because we have some things that need to be done. We need a new stretcher, obviously. And also I'd like to add the one person overnight. So what I did with the conservative on the capital improvement funds, instead of putting 50,000 or 75,000 in, I figured those funds, 40,000 for this year is actually okay. It's being fiscally responsible, I feel. Putting $30,000 into a vehicle fund, 3,000 into the SCBA fund. Equipment, which is just general equipment that we might need down the road, like a new set of jaws or something like that. Fire and EMS gear, which is for like the coats and jackets and pants and all that. And then communications for radio equipment down the road. Our equipment right now, radio communications, we're replacing a portable every year. 2 years, replacing 2 portals every year to take the older ones that are non-functioning or not as great anymore, taking them out of service because they're not operating efficiently. So, also there's our area towns around us like Rochester, Dover, the potential of Sanford, and some other communities going digital radio. The digital radio and analog radio is 2 types of different animals.
Mhm.
If you have a digital radio, you can talk on analog,
Not the other way.
but you can't talk, and we have analog, so we're swapping to digital radios to make it better down the road when everyone decides to go digital.
What's one of them cost?
So 2 portables we just purchased this year was just right around 4,000. But to make effective.
How many in Maine is switching?
What's that?
How many in Maine is switching as far as the radio's over?
Right now, I believe like Biddeford is swapping over and stuff like that, but none right here, right now. There's been talk of Sanford doing that. And if they do that, then we're gonna have, instead of buying everything all at once, then we're ahead of the game by buying a little at a time. So, there is an opportunity. We are on the run cards for,
Do we have to do that this year?
no. That's why we're doing a little at a time, just kinda taking it slowly on that. The run cards for Rochester Fire, as you know, we go over for tank trucks and stuff like that. We are on Dover run cards. We go to Dover if they need tank trucks. They have no tank trucks at all. So they're just engines with 1,000 gallons of water.
Really?
Yeah, because they have mostly hydrants.
Oh, right.
But when they get out in the outlying districts, I mean, they start calling us. So now that they know that we have 2 tank trucks, now they said, So there's a chance that we could go to Dover more often. So that was the capital improvement fund that I thought would be modest. I know last year we put quite a bit into, was it 75,000 or something like
think it's usually 15.
Yeah, usually
What?
50,
Capital
but did we
improvement.
put 75 in
And we
last?
put like 7 last year for all the funds.
Well, we did 50 in the old one, cause that was for the ambulance.
Yeah, plus 25.
And
Plus
25.
25, yeah.
And,
I mean, I would take $1 million if you could give it to me and to buy trucks, but I understand how that works and
yeah, we did,
trying to be responsible.
in the regular CIPs, we did 75, which is that 50 for the ambulance, and
Yep.
then 25. So this year we're doing 40.
Have you repaired the motor on that truck?
We have not yet. Right now, we're keeping a close eye on oil, making sure it's running properly and stuff like that. It's gotta go in next week for, and the air tank is leaking, so we need to get a patch on the air tank and some brake work. So,
Why don't you do it all at once?
well, we wanna try to see if we can do some more finagling or with them on price wise. So,
What happened to how long ago did we purchase fire gear? It seemed like not too long ago, we bought a bunch of fire gear and.
so when I first came in last year, I purchased 4 sets. And then we bought 2 more sets in the summer.
But before you.
Yeah, the guy, before him, whatever.
We normally buy 4 sets
The
a year,
time
we always did.
from Rochester.
Normally had 4 sets, I'm not sure what.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how old previously, but we've been doing a little at a time and trying to get on track with all that.
I just thought the last chief bought a bunch and I was just wondering where they ended up.
Yeah, there's still gear, I mean, that he purchased there. Some have holes, and we get those repaired. Some, there's other gear there that it's very close to 10 years old. And NFPA recommends replacing them after 10 years.
You recommend it, but I mean, if it's
Yeah.
good, if you grew, it's good.
Right. And I don't wanna get in that whole
No, but
fiasco like Leamington did either, not Sweeney or Yashi or something. All their gear was outdated. So,
yeah, but if you try to keep up with them, you'll.
oh, I'm not trying to keep up with anybody,
I mean,
I'm just,
try to keep it at
Yeah.
you're gonna
oh, I
spend
know.
more than.
Then we can afford.
Yeah. So that's why I felt last year was 75,000, I think dropping it down this year for 40.
So what's your manpower now?
We're at 24.
Cause I mean, we had the rescue and we had fire, which we was running pretty close to 30 apiece,
Yeah.
some of them across, so we ended up about 50 people, so there should have been
Yeah.
quite a bit of old gear there that's still good, cause a lot of it wasn't really.
Well, that
used, but-
depends on how old.
Yeah, I mean, it's still over the 10 years, but it's still
Right.
usable for,
And it depends on also how many times they've been washed now, because if you wash it a certain amount of times and it goes beyond that, then you take a lot of the retardant and stuff out. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's where, trying to replace so many sets a year, just trying to get that back in.
I'm just worried the vehicle fund's low.
What's that?
I'm just worried the vehicle fund is low.
Yeah.
You're never gonna buy a fire truck.
Oh, I totally understand. But I'm trying to be responsible and to everybody, and I mean, if you guys feel you wanna go more than that, I'm okay with that, but.
I'm just saying, a fire truck $500,000,
Yep.
50,000 a year, it's gonna take you 10 years to buy one.
Oh, yes.
Well, maybe some years when we don't have to spend as much, we can put more in.
You know?
But we have a 10-year plan for the roads. So it's not like those are gonna go away
That's
anytime
right.
soon. But it's not like it's, one and done, it's,
10 years.
yeah,
Yep,
10 years to start over again.
right.
10 years and another 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be dead, I don't care.
Yeah,
I won't be.
What you guys think?
You can carry the torch. At least I'm hoping.
We need too much, right?
We do.
Where do you,
yes,
I
we
mean,
do. We,
I'd love to increase it, but, we need too much, so where do you draw the line and where do you try to get a number that's gonna pass,
right, I mean,
that's what
our
it is.
big
for all of us.
problem is gonna be if none of this passes. then what? Then we have to start over.
The next year it's even worse.
Right,
Not gonna get it's not gonna get any easier.
So we gotta start twisting some arms.
Yeah, I'm really good at that.
what we need is a town manager that will talk about
Really?
companies coming in. So
Really?
we have, I know,
McDonald's.
I know this is brand new news.
Yes, brand new.
Call President
You know, if we
Trump,
had-
he'll send somebody right up,
Who?
President Trump.
Oh, well, he might.
As a
Never
town
know.
manager?
What the hell, he's president.
Oh, something more than grow facilities that don't generate anything. And we don't need the smoke shops either.
Pretty brings in revenue.
To who?
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't think, taxes.
Probably minimally. We don't have anything that covers
Guys
that.
ought to start
All
putting
the
out
pot places.
questions to start taxing that shit, you know how much money you get in this town? This town's loaded.
That's what I'm
It's the only
saying.
thing you can do.
Everybody's making money but the town.
You can't,
I
you
got
can't, the
bushels.
state forbids us to tax it.
To tax what?
The business.
Anything.
I'm not talking about the business, I'm talking about marijuana.
We
So
can't.
much a pound.
Can't.
State forbids it.
Especially it's a medical issue, so it's not really
State
taxing.
forbids any kind of local tax.
Well, I think we're gonna try growing our own.
Yeah.
And there's
I know somebody that's good at it.
And then we can put it all into the town.
you could do business licenses, that's the only way you could get revenue. Sanford does it. So, and again, it's for any kind of, it doesn't matter whether it's medical or retail. If you're a
Can you
grow-
do
if
a
you're
business
grow
license for
facility,
$3 million?
But if you're a grow facility, you can do a business license for all grow facilities.
Yeah.
I think theirs is 5,000 a year, 4,000 a year, something like that.
Yeah, well, they're making something on it, getting
See what I'm
something.
saying, but it's also to cover, but I mean, you can't go crazy, because it really has to cover, so I mean, fire has to go in and check it.
Yeah.
They have, part of the license is odor control. And so they make sure that there's odor control in place, so that's part of it, it's like an inspection to get a renewal every single year. But again, who does that? So that's kind of, it's there's labor involved in that, it's not just like free money.
Right.
And you have to do that, and you do it with a bunch of business licenses, but all of a sudden you throw business licenses in the mix, and then any business here in town is gonna be up and, what's this, you're trying to, so yeah, it's just,
Run a referendum question on that, and give the money to him. There you are, that ends the problem with searching for funding.
So I'll take any suggestions on what you guys feel. I mean, you know where we're at, and I mean, I'm just trying to be responsible to the town, and yet trying to provide a service.
We're in a hole and we can't dig ourselves out of.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
if you were to look in your crystal ball,
Yep.
well, it's kind of foggy, but.
Cloudy, dark.
Right now, it's really cloudy.
Yeah.
So for example, like this per diem.
Yep.
If that were to pass.
Yep.
We wouldn't need that next year.
Right.
We're not gonna need another stretcher next year.
Correct.
Now, yeah, then maybe there's another piece of equipment that we could buy next year, but is there potentially that if with these two also on there, then those amounts or something similar to that could then go back into these CIPs? And do you think there's any one-off items that we would need next year?
No, we need a truck. Pretty bad.
Skip, how many years did I hear that?
I mean, I guess my point.
Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, I know, no, I understand.
I mean, my point is to try to get that number boosted,
Right.
on years when we can afford it. On other years where you have other priorities, whether it be a stretcher,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, then,
There are no years we can afford it.
well, that's
We
true.
can't afford not to have it, but
Well, the per diem won't go away.
No, but the extra money in it will.
so
Yeah, no, you're right, no, but you're right, though, that's a per diem, so that would stay the same, right? That would just be rolled into his regular budget.
right.
So for the referendum for the CIP, so you're looking at 40,000 for everything
Right,
under the CIP for fire.
instead of 75.
Instead of 75,000,
Yeah,
That's
'cause
what it
last
was
year was
last year.
75, and,
and it passed?
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
yep,
50 of it was 50 and 25.
Right.
And 50 of that plus plus some out of the general fund was paying for the ambulance.
So we have a new ambulance.
yeah, it's gonna be here in a few minutes,
I
actually.
can't keep up with all the
What?
equipment.
The new ambulance will be here in a few
We
minutes.
do a show and tell.
oh God, did you have to pick such a cold night?
Well, it's actually, the only thing we really wanted to show you was the stretcher, the way it works, and why we need the new stretcher.
Didn't we see that?
Oh, we saw it last
You showed
year.
us that.
Yeah, we did,
Yes,
kind of.
but this one's totally different now.
Oh,
Oh,
it's even worse, or?
What do you
It's
mean?
better. The new one is better. The newer
new,
version
better
of
than the
the
one we saw
stretcher is
last year.
better than what you saw.
We saw the old one last
Yes,
year,
you
though.
did.
So the old truck, that one's gone, right?
It's
You can
right now,
smell
it's
the
sitting
exhaust.
beside the
It's
station
been
going
there.
out to.
Just pulled in.
It just pulled.
Yeah, okay.
Don't you have any of those old military ones with the handles?
Mash unit.
Yeah.
People are too
So-
big for them.
We actually, you know what, I think we actually have a couple of those at the station. some of those
There
stretchers.
used to be a bunch upstairs.
Yeah, I know. So,
Okay, so.
Don't use the new one, leave that in there, take the old stretcher away.
that is sitting,
Canvas
yes,
and
that's
wooden
sitting at the
handles?
station, as outside, and I'm gonna get all the information, try to give the selectmen and have them put it out to bid.
Okay, somebody's gonna buy it
Somebody will buy it, yeah.
for somebody to buy
We've
it.
got a lot of people that's interested in it,
Oh,
as personal, do whatever.
Any idea what
That
you
one
might
can't
get for that?
They were gonna give us 4,000 on the trade-in,
Oh, well, I thought,
and I was
So
gonna
you
ask
can-
if I could take that 4,000 and put it into the fire department budget, because it was bought by Rescue years ago, bought by the town.
Do you think if you sell it, you're gonna make more than 4?
I don't know.
Who bought that?
Well, didn't the Rescue buy that years ago?
No. Taxpayers paid.
Taxpayers?
Well, rescue may have, but it was still taxpayer
Okay.
dollars.
So,
Instead of 6 payments, it was 7.
Somebody's here.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the town paid an extra payment for that one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Trip to Florida. Was that Disneyland we went to?
So,
You didn't have any
Don't bring
records,
that.
it's old records that I printed as far as the maintenance on the trucks from 2001
okay.
and the station maintenance too,
All right.
that's just the money parts, not the, so
Oh, is that
I
our?
thought you might need it sometime.
Yeah. So, do you guys wanna go out real quick and see that stretcher, just because, I had Selectman, Philbrook there at our demonstration, and it's slick, it's phenomenal. We had,
Yeah.
JT, is Matt with you?
Yep.
Matt's, 6'4", 6'5",
Probably.
and we have another one who's 5 foot, and if they're
They can
working
both-
together,
Oh.
you know, on the old stretcher, you really can't lift it. This system, you're gonna really be impressed. So,
are you looking to buy another one of those?
just the stretcher itself, not the actual power load, so, and we'll show
that's
you.
what the striker is, right?
Yes.
The striker's the
Yep,
builder. And,
so, if we can
I'll
just,
pass, I'll get to see who was inside the
Yeah.
garage next to me. Sorry.
You got a ride in it. I'll give you a up and down ride.
I'm only going if I can lay on it.
There you go.
Is it a heated seat?
I don't care, I just wanna lay down. Stretch the stretcher on.
I'll give you a ride.
Yeah.
Charge it, oh,
Yeah, right.
the money.
That was quick.
That's why he did it on a cold night, right?
I'm double glad now I went to the station to see it.
Doesn't really feel like it's that long in here until you put it outside.
Yeah, right. You never got to go.
Oh, that's too bad.
Now I gotta get those notes out.
Yeah.
I doubt it. I have no idea.
So,
Alright,
that's the stretcher. It saves on injuries, it saves on, even you're trying to do the manual stretcher, you're trying to load with two people to put in the back of the ambulance, and if you have icy, driveway and stuff like that, one person slips. This one, you don't have to worry about slipping because you just got one button that takes care of everything and you just kind of push it in. And otherwise it just hangs there until you're ready. So, and also, like I said, it gives us an opportunity to pay more attention to the patient. We can have more hands-on instead of having 2 or 3 people pulling the patient out. So.
Now this stretcher there is, how old is that one?
That one came with the last truck, which was 2010, so it's 9 years old. And that, we actually were able to upgrade it to fit this ambulance. So. So, like I said, we're trying to replace the old manual one in the backup truck. Because right now, if we have a mass, they call a mass casualty, if we go to an incident where you have a bunch of people or a bunch of departments there, sometimes your stretcher does not go back into your ambulance because you're putting patients on different things and moving them everywhere.
our stretcher better not go on someone else's ambulance.
So we may end up with an old manual stretcher.
Oh.
Because the manual will work in it, but it's one of those things. But we get our stretcher back because they're all serial numbered and everything like that. So.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
Just handcuff the EMS worker to it.
yeah. So that's why I think we really need to replace that old stretcher, and the old stretcher is just not dependable anymore.
Well, I think we're all pretty much in agreement that we'd love to have all this, but I don't know whether it's gonna pass.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's just we
I know.
gotta try.
I know.
If we don't try, we won't know.
Yep.
So.
Oh, you never know.
Right.
Until they see the tax bill.
Love it. Right.
Well, yeah, but
Then I
that'll
gotta see the
that'll be
tax
done.
bill after.
It'll be my fault.
That's right. It'll be your fault.
That's right. And you'll get the calls.
I'll make sure I post your number.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's right.
So the other referendum question was to add the per diem person.
Yep.
This figure right here, if we added the per diem person, we keep the same number on the actual budget line item. And this is just the additional cost of that per diem person. So right now we pay currently for 2 people to be on call overnight at their $40,560.
Yeah.
So
this would be over and above that?
that would just be the addition, 53,000 to put that person on.
I didn't very well.
Hey, Chief, so this one here is purely a service issue that the town gets to decide. I mean, while, it may help us fill some of our paramedic shifts, because they can do 24-hour shifts with us. I mean, we're not doing that bad. We're doing pretty, you got a few paramedics on right now, right? I mean.
During the days.
Right. It doesn't help us at night.
Right.
But I mean, this is a purely, so again, if the town doesn't want this level of service.
Right.
Then they don't want this level of service.
So right now, we only have, I believe, 9 people that actually live in town in our response district.
Don't get sick at night.
So we're trying to, you know, we're trying to fill those night shifts all the time. We have one guy that actually does 7 days a week. So.
And chief is not on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unlike what people think. Just because he's a paramedic doesn't mean he's on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He certainly is not paid.
hope not.
He's certainly not paid that way. He gets to have a life.
Really?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Fair as
Only
I-
sometimes.
I must be.
I know.
It's new to me, you know, having a life. So.
That's
Don't get used to it.
That's one thing that kind of bothers me. Like all,
That he has a life.
no, that including all the dedicated firefighters
Yeah.
that we had in this town forever,
Right,
all the way up to the assistant chief, the chief.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
yep.
And they were dedicated to this town, and then
Couldn't get
the last
anything.
chief we had, got rid of all of them. And that still bothers me, cause
Yep.
our skip, we had a lot of dedicated guys in this town that were over 20 years
Yeah.
on the department, and, you know, I'll be honest with you, you know, I'm for the fire department stuff, but when I saw the sign at low pay,
That's.
no, let me talk, Steve, because when we're spending $6,000 a week on salary, and some of them firefighters, that wasn't even, you know,
Right.
an assistant chief wasn't even making $1,000 a year.
Right.
And then when I saw that sign, that kind of, I'll be honest with you, pissed me off. Because your budget was $180,000 a year forever, 138.
No, that was the highest, it was, 110 was a normal.
But you also have to remember.
But I'm just saying, Steve, that bothers me, and till this day it bothers me, because I know a lot of guys at Sanford Fire Department, Rochester Fire Department, that were dedicated to this town. And then they were shown the door because they saw stuff that was going on they didn't agree with.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad that maybe you should go talk to some of them, try to get some of them guys back.
Well, actually, we have.
That,
I mean, there's a few out there that actually are talking that they'd like to come back.
it just bothers me,
Yeah.
you know?
So it's not just Lebanon that has low pay. Okay.
No, but to me, that was a slap in the face that the guys were
No.
firefighters in this town.
That wasn't meant to be.
Well, that's,
Well, they got crap pay. All those volunteers, they got crap pay. What do they get? A couple of bucks for going on a call?
well, that's what I'm saying,
But
Chip.
that's,
And
what
now-
but that's the point of it, is that you get crap pay, even the pay now is low for what they do. And so that was the whole point.
Yeah,
is,
there was
but-
volunteers then, and now it's not. Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
you get volunteers. no.
You can go to McDonald's and make the same pay now as a basic EMT.
Yeah.
That who actually deals with somebody, picking somebody up in the middle of the night. You know, seeing them kids on the street.
Because his overall budget, if you took away the salary and personnel pay,
Deserve.
would be less than what we was
Right.
doing before for maintenance and everything else. We were doing the same type of thing.
And a lot of this is rescue. I mean, a lot of this,
Yeah.
is-
Right.
a lot of this budget is rescue, is not
It's-
fire.
Yeah.
People, personnel, most of
Because
them.
right now, I mean, our ambulance budget, our ambulance calls are 80% or more compared to, you know, fire, which is, you know, 10 to 20, depending.
But having them cross-trained, their response time even to a fire is gonna be better. I mean, it wasn't always better, because Skip lived at the station. But, you know, I'm saying, having somebody on shift gets that response quicker than a volunteer, which they all have to get there, get the trucks and get out.
The other night, we had a structure fire in Smith Road. We had 2 tankers, 2 engines, we had the utility, myself, we were all out. And we got all those trucks out and we had 11 people show. So, which is good.
How long did it take you to get there from the fire department, from the town?
We had, this station over here was the first station there. Bill Stasowitz had a tank truck there. I was the first one there and Bill's right behind me by
Really?
maybe 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, he lives right there at the country store. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I live up on the corner of Heath and Depot, so. So I was able to get there and tell them what we had, and we started water on the fire before any of the other town trucks showed up, Bill and I, so.
So this amount, is that an additional to the
Correct.
wages
Yes.
for weekly, or no,
Wages
night
for
schedule?
Schedule.
Night schedule. So it's going from 40,560 to
90.
To
50.
90 something.
93,000.
That's to add
Oh,
one
you're-
person.
Yeah,
That's a separate line item.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's another full-time.
more than doubling.
okay.
So right now, the on-call, those
The
hours
ambulance
are,
left too soon.
those hours are just a stipend for being on call and then, right, that's all that really is for two
The
people.
40,000?
It's for two people to be on call, and that's a stipend that they're getting.
This is one person.
That's one person actually being
Full-time
paid.
and the other one's still on call.
Yeah.
They're actually in-house and the other one is on call.
So what that person would come in at, at nighttime, they come in, they check their truck, make sure everything's there, they'll check a fire truck, make sure everything's there.
How many hours a week would this cover?
That will cover, all 7 days a
All
week.
24 hours a day.
So we'll have one person on at least 24 hours a day.
Okay, it may not be the same person.
Right. So, and it wouldn't be a
have
full-time
places to
person.
Right.
We're working on that. So, it wouldn't be a full-time person, it'd be a per diem person. And so there's no benefits and
So what's the insurance with this? I mean, having one person in the station alone, is that a advisable thing?
yeah, I mean, a lot of places do it.
No, I don't, just.
Yeah, and as long as somebody else is on call with them and stuff like that.
Place is locked, I mean, the door's locked.
Yeah.
But
So it's a safety, so if it was a woman, again, the door's locked, so
yeah,
there's that security issue.
Oh, we
That's no
know.
different than
No.
here, we don't open here, if one of the girls is out here by themselves, we won't open up the office by itself, we have to.
But I mean, still, they're not overnight and that's all, I mean, just, I know. It was an issue way back, I know they didn't want one person staying at the station, like we would do this during storm coverage, you couldn't have one person, you had to have at least two, just because of the fact,
Says who,
because, I don't know,
the selectmen, stuff like
selectmen and some of the insurance people and so forth.
so we still have to maintain the 2 in, 2 out rule for
Right.
for firefighting. So, I mean, the person who is on duty will take the truck there, and start the pump operations and stuff like that, but they won't be entering any burning
No,
buildings or anything like that until everyone's,
Until someone
4
else shows
people
up.
show up or,
So they'll be alone at the station?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure, I'm sure somebody will probably else come in and hang out too, and so, yeah, so it's one of those things with people from out of town, that are on the department, they'll come in and most likely just kinda hang out with somebody and talk for a while. I mean, right now I get, during the day sometimes, I have 7 or 8 people that come in, just hang out, talk and,
Really?
yeah. So, and today we had 2 ambulance calls at once. We covered them both, so we just happen to have extra people hanging around, so.
Yeah, Stady went after one of them. I went behind the ambulance went out, and then shortly thereafter, Stady went.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Speaking of the buildings, what's the long range plan for?
Tear it down?
I'm just asking, I know,
No, more money, I'm just thinking more money.
no, I'm saying Blaze Hill Corner, that was condemned 20 years ago.
It was.
Now we're gonna start sleeping now.
Actually, I was gonna try to put the person over here, at night.
What's that station called?
We got a bedroom in the basement.
Or Station 1.
No, I'm just wondering what the game plan is for long term for a fire station, because everybody here knows we're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
Another expense to the town that's been not taken care of.
So,
As soon as the roads are all done, then
Yeah, we gotta do the
30
roads.
years.
So I mean, I know a lot of people over the time here asked about a community center and stuff like that.
That's a
So-
pipe dream.
But would it be a pipe dream if we had a community center and a fire station together?
No, and it wouldn't be if you could get a grant.
Well, would you
what
really-
We're maybe a low cost,
It would be great.
Do
You really want a community center though, where all your
Yep,
firefighters are and stuff?
yeah,
Yeah.
why not? A lot of towns have it.
because
We put in for a grant and we had a good start on it. It was putting the station, it was a rough building we were putting up there. That was $2 million, and that was a community center with both fire and rescue and the community center in the middle with all the offices, which was a good plan. Still should be somewhere around there, but I'm not sure where it is
Yeah.
yet. It didn't go through, but
yeah,
I mean, that would have been,
I mean that way. I mean if you had like a community center with
I think just right to the Alphons and the Kings.
Well, I've already been working on that.
King's gonna go more than 50,000, that's.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, 50 a year?
But if you had like a community center that had like 100 comfortable seating, and you could have all the children's groups,
Could have a
all
lot there.
the adult, the senior.
Can also do voting there.
You could do vote, yeah.
Voting there,
Big public meetings
So-
there every day.
senior luncheons.
You could do,
That we
I
don't
mean,
do
you could do
anymore.
the selectmen's meetings there, you could do, budget board meetings there. I mean, it's just something, you got so much that the opportunity's there to grow.
Well, only town I know of that doesn't have a community center.
So,
Isn't that what the Grange was for?
No, you got it upstairs.
Oh, what was Grange for?
We can't.
Grange private.
No,
What is that?
you mean the old town
For
hall.
what?
It started out just for farmers only.
You mean the old town hall, don't you?
The Grange that's down on Little River Road.
Oh, I thought you were
Past
talking
the
about the
end,
center
you just
road.
Oh,
I'm the president, yeah.
oh, you are of the Grange? Oh, okay.
Are there any farmers there anymore?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Are there? Good.
I said, I didn't think there were many farms left in this town.
So I was just asking.
There are a few.
Now, but
So what's the plan on the station?
The crock pot.
There isn't any,
Well, that's annoying.
What's the holdup?
I mean, that thing's-
Which is it?
That's-
You got the money in,
it's a money issue.
but you got the money in the fund, right? Building repair?
What are you talking about a new station?
No, the old station.
I thought we already talked about the old, okay, yeah, the old station, yeah, we're just waiting to see if there's really no the holdup is, there's a reversionary interest, we're trying to get the people to sign off on that. So there's brand new owners that bought the property, so we're looking to see if they'll sign off on that before we take possession of it, which will make it easier. We have permission either way, so if they won't, we'll still transfer ownership. And then we gotta figure out what we're gonna do. So yeah, I mean,
Is anybody doing anything with it? I mean, it's been going on for.
2 years, 3 years.
again, no, and there hasn't been any immediate need to do that.
I mean, if you're gonna use it, then it'll.
If we're gonna use it, there is. And
Cause I
so
mean,
that's- so
there
that's-
is a kitchen, there was a working
Right.
kitchen and everything else there, so.
Right.
it's still available to work. It's
So
still-
again, where
Decent shape.
the thought is that if this one passes to have the overnight paramedic and they may go there, then that becomes a more immediate need to get that floor fixed. And then also to figure out where you're gonna put them as far as where's the bedroom gonna be, et cetera, and there may be a little bit of minor remodeling, there's a bathroom in there. but
Bathrooms in there.
There's no shower though,
Just
right?
need to put a shower in.
Right, so again, we already have we have a couple of bids that we got in for estimates for the concrete work. So again, it's just there hasn't been a huge immediate need to do, so yeah. But yeah, it's gonna get done.
So how
Who else
much,
owns that land?
Yes.
So they gave the land to the fire corporation, so not to the
Right.
town, to the fire corporation with a reversionary interest, that if it wasn't used for fire, then it reverted back to them.
To the fire?
No, reverted back to the home.
Or the
to
other?
Property owner.
And so what we're trying to do, and actually there's two pieces of property there. There's a small little square, which used to be like the schoolhouse, and then there's a little L around it, which makes it a little bit bigger. So there's actually two pieces of property, but they both have that. And so what we're trying to do.
Well, the first one didn't, the schoolhouse didn't.
No,
that was
I don't know, there's two pieces.
Town owned that, and we
There's still
bought it
two
from the
pieces,
town.
there's still two pieces of
Right.
property involved, and so the Halfeneckers, I think that's what their name is, just bought the property that has the reversionary interest, so that reversionary interest goes back to them. So we're trying to talk to them and see if they're willing, they probably don't even know that piece
Right.
of property reverts back to them. That's my guess.
They probably don't.
In which case, they might very well sign off on it, and therefore then it just eliminates
Let's hope.
any of those issues. They may not, in which case that's fine. I mean, but if they do, it just eliminates that.
so what is the total property between the two pieces?
I don't know.
Not very big.
Less than
No, it's a less than,
an
yeah.
acre.
Less than an
Size of
acre?
your thumb?
Oh,
and it's pretty swampy
We're
out back.
putting a rec center on.
It's about 400 by 400, I think, is when we measured it, when they set it up. And
So why
that's-
is the town putting any money into it?
400, 400?
We don't even.
It's not, it's not,
We got
it's
it.
Corporation.
not a prime location for a new
I
fire
thought the
station
Heffernan
to demolish it, and no in there.
They gave it to
So-
them,
They had.
Probably the best
but it's got that provision
location
in
that
those
was
states
come up
fire
with
department.
is
Right.
probably up
Then
by
it
the
goes back
transfer
to
station,
them,
we own
but
quite a bit of
it's
land up there.
fire department doesn't really matter, but.
And that
town
is
doesn't
actually
wanna
where
get
the
into
transfer
that.
station is, believe it or not, is the central point of the town.
Hmm.
If you actually look at the town, that's center.
It's way over 100 acres there, ain't that?
Yeah, we own quite a bit of land there. So, so that's, you know, something along that line would be, but again, that's, you know, I mean, you know, you probably need to get a committee together, a fire station committee that tries to work on location, design, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a long process, to do that. You know, and then once you do that, then you gotta try to see how do you pay for it, whether it be a grant or whether it be a.
Right.
But you can't, I mean, you can look for grants right now, but it's kinda hard to apply for a grant when you don't even have
That's right.
a concept, you don't even have plans, you don't have,
Right.
you know, any of that stuff.
So
Would
US,
be helpful if there was a
USDA
comprehensive plan,
might
is
be
that what you're
helpful,
saying?
USDA, offers grants, but unfortunately, we've looked into it and supposedly Lebanon makes so much money in the median.
What?
Yes, it has to be under 60,000. Lebanon makes more than that, so.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Who did that study?
It's been looked around
About a third of
by
it.
a bunch of people, yeah.
Because that study can be done by professional people.
Right.
And I can't imagine that the median income in Lebanon is over
That's what-
60,000.
Yeah, if you type it in, it comes up.
That's what I go to.
Those census
It doesn't
figures?
sound, must be 2010 census figures,
Yeah, it
but.
must be the census.
So then let's build it with taxes since there's so many rich people.
Yeah.
So,
Then why do we have a problem?
Where the hell are they hiding? That's what I wanna know.
so, I mean, it's, we've looked into it, and we're looking, but it's just dreaming right now.
Jeez.
I think the fire department ought to be a discussion after the new assessment comes in. Make a plan, get your design, get anything you want. You're gonna have to wait until after I mean,
Because, like,
then the people that have got all these big houses are gonna be paying big taxes.
so right now, if we have, let's say, like today, we had one ambulance call, the crew leaves, and we get a second ambulance call, and we're both on the other side of town. We have to drive all the way over here, pick up the ambulance, and if it's back over on River Road, we gotta drive all the way back over to River Road. So that's, if you had a station that had both ambulances in the same station, it saves on response time.
And somewhat central to the town rather than really
Right.
at either end.
So are you
And where would
talking-
that be?
What?
Central to the town.
The dump is essential.
Yeah.
Town is a transfer station, yep.
So is that, so
we had a
are you talking about consolidating both fire stations in one place? So that the ambulances
You may
and the
not-
fire
you may-
trucks?
Well, you could possibly have some for engine storage, depending on, so you had something on each end of town. I don't know, I mean, that's a
For insurance purposes, you might need that.
logistic thing for
Would
chief.
be maybe have a engine over here, and then, you know, a central location for everything else. But, I mean, you could, to eliminate building maintenance and all that other stuff.
And they're old buildings, so they're not heated efficiently, they're not,
Right.
wasting a ton of money.
So it would be honestly one station for the whole town, and a central location would probably be better. But that's up to the town.
That's the rule is still how much, 3 miles, so is it what they figure from the station is a insurance coverage is out
5
miles an hour?
and plus, so many feet from a hydrant.
Yeah. But no, it used to be 3 miles and that's why we had the both stations and I think they did increase it to 5 miles, they give you coverage, well, that would cover pretty much, if you go to the dump, that's pretty much 5 miles around will cover most of the town. And if you had another rework and anything else, or Sanford covering, going to be a station close enough to cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions on, or I know it's a lot.
We
but I'm
know.
just trying to do better services for the town.
Okay.
Responses and,
It all depends on what the people want.
Is the corporation doing anything now as far as money-wise?
I mean, I don't know what they have for money or anything like that, or what they do.
You bought a thermal imaging camera.
That came from, the donation, not from them. That came,
Because there was money in there for that, was designated to that, so it's gonna be used for them. The camera that, which was given to us to do that, I'm not sure how much it was now. I could look, but I know there was money set aside for that, and that's the only thing we could use it for, so.
yeah, I don't know how much money they have in the fund. I'm not a member of the association, so. I can't be a member of the association, from my understanding,
Well, that was the old board, I'm not sure what this board says.
so.
Never been asked, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Cause I was always a member, and it didn't matter.
Yeah. So the very last page,
Yeah.
So are we done talking about Stryker?
Yep.
Okay,
It's either a go or it's not.
okay, alright.
so the other day, I got a call from Bill Tower, who's the Director of Communications at Sanford. He came to meet with us on Tuesday, and was pretty much asking us if we'd stay
Really?
in Sanford. So with the proposal that he would ask his dispatchers if they would accept, because they're union, if they would accept adding another channel, so Lebanon would have their own channel.
Oh. Really?
So, my initial thought was no, but then I said,
Yeah, right.
but then I said, well, you know what, this is gonna be, it's workable.
It's over $15,000.
It's a savings.
a year.
The savings of 15 at least. So, it's workable.
But I thought they weren't reaching you at all points because of where their tower is.
Correct,
So how
right.
can they go to Mount Hope?
So, right now, the tower is, that we dispatch, the channel that we're dispatched on, the tower is actually in Acton on Blueberry Ridge. The channel that we want to be operating on, we already have our own, and it's on Mount Hope. They
Okay.
would actually put the radio frequency in for that, and it would actually work a lot better for the whole area.
Switch towers.
Just switching towers, that's all, and adding a
You
channel.
give it your own channel plus then switch towers for your channel.
So you'd be the only one on that channel
Correct.
with Sanford?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then if somebody comes in mutual aid, another town, they would swap over to our channel, and then so they'd be able to talk to us and stuff like that.
So isn't this a board? Sanford Communications, ain't there a board there?
No.
Like I
They,
thought like.
Just a user.
it's a users group.
Group that,
That's for the towers, but not for dispatch.
So, but there is, they have meetings where the fire departments come in and do operations, they call it. How, the dispatchers should dispatch calls and so on. That is very inactive. The last one that showed up for that meeting was us, and that was last summer. We were the only ones, besides the director of,
everybody else must be satisfied.
apparently. So,
Chief and I had a conversation with a council person in Sanford, and we're still in the middle of that conversation, and that may have been one of the reasons that Mr. Tower reached out to us, we're not positive. But I think that if we stay with them, that we want, the new contract should have something in there where we have some say over, or some, on the operational, our concerns on the operational side. Obviously the tower takes care of that reception issue. But there are still some operational concerns that we've had.
Well, the first contract did, because every town had one vote, even just Sanford had one vote.
Well, and again, it's whether it be that group needs to be more active or something, but we'd wanna, I would think it would make sense to make sure that any kind of contract we enter into, that we have some language in there that helps us to find solutions to what the problems that we've had.
Cause I know that way it was set up and because it got been renewed since, whether it got changed
So,
after that or not, but I know that's the way it was, and even Sanford's department took a lot of, they gave a lot to get everybody else in there, the fire department, you know, I mean, they went from a lot, conceded a lot of their operational stuff that they were doing to go along with everybody else, so everybody was in agreement on how things would run, and I know the last chief before he first weekend, he changes what he called, you know, car one wasn't supposed to be car one. That, you know, they done away with that, and as soon as he come in, it was car one now, and he didn't correspond with the dispatch, so that might have started him off on a, you know,
Wrong foot.
going against everybody else, you know, and so,
When do we
and same
find
thing
out?
with the other members and stuff.
I don't really know yet. He's gotta talk to the union first before they can officially give you can have your own channel. So,
Now, Kittery and York, one of them's building a new dispatch channel?
Wells,
No, it's Kittery or York.
it must be Kittery.
Because I read something, there's a line dispute on Route 1 there, and they really don't want to stir the pot because they're both working together for a new dispatch system, but one of the towns, I don't know which one.
Well, I know York Dispatch Police took over the VFW hall next to, I think it was the VFW, next to Hannaford, on Route 1. There's a hall that they took over because the group actually went defunct. So they took it over, made it into a police station, and put a brand new dispatch center in there. So I know Kittery had a brand new building, municipal building, back several years ago, but I don't know if they're combining together or not now.
Yeah, I just read that. I think it must be Kittery going to York then, because like I say, there's a line dispute and neither one of the towns wanted to stir it up because they're trying to work together on this dispatch center, so.
Did they give you any indication how long it would take before they gave you a definitive on
He didn't, he just said, well, I'll get back to you. Yeah, I know. I know.
TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I can reach out to him, I'll reach out to him tomorrow and see what I can find out. But, I think this is workable with them if we just sit down and actually have a hard talk. But we were able to have them reach out to us first, asking us to stay. That's a big step. So.
Okay, that's it, right?
So that's it otherwise.
Okay.
So. Do you have any other questions, comments? Throw me out of town.
Good. Not likely.
Yeah.
So. Okay,
So there's nothing about a truck.
what's that?
There's nothing about a new fire truck.
For 1 year.
Have you got you came up with some sort of plan, have you got a solid 10-year plan or 20-year plan?
Yeah, replacement of vehicles, yeah.
I mean, as far as,
I actually wrote a grant not too long ago for, through the AFG for a brand new tank truck. Right now, we haven't heard a no, so that means we're still in the running.
Good.
I'm also writing some of the medical equipment that I asked for the last time. I think I might be able to get a piece here and there through a grant, through Kennebunk Savings and stuff like that.
You just keep writing those grants.
I'm trying.
Get some sleep.
What's your idea on the, like the last chief, he was dead set on like a cab over or whatever?
Oh, custom cab?
Yeah.
I'm not dead set on that.
Okay.
Tank trucks and stuff like that. We don't really respond enough with 4 or 5 people on the truck. If we had 4 or 5 people on the truck constantly, I'd say, yeah, we need a custom cab, we need to, but I think we can, like tank trucks, we can get away with a commercial cab. I think someday we may need to get a custom cab for a frontline engine. because of turning radiuses. The turning radiuses on a custom cab is phenomenal, especially on some of these side back roads that we have. But right now, I'm not looking at buying
A lot cheaper, ain't it?
probably 75,000, maybe.
At least.
Yeah. So right now, the tank truck, I wrote the grant for, I'm asking for 400,000.
Wow.
And that would actually outfit the truck totally. So that's including hose.
Keep your fingers crossed.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what is the likelihood that a grant that huge would come through?
Well, you see, it depends on how you write it and stuff like that. I actually wrote it so that not only does it benefit the town of Lebanon, it would also benefit the surrounding mutual aid communities, and also the mutual aid groups that we belong to, like Community Mutual Aid, which is Somersworth, Barrington, Lee, Madbury, all that.
Holy cow.
So yeah.
Lee's a long ways away.
We need a helicopter to get it there.
Yeah.
So I wrote it that way and broke it down per capita as well through all their population. So I'm hoping that they see this and how many towns this could be used in and stuff like that. So if you thought far away, Newburyport, Mass was actually covering Berwick the other day.
I heard that.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So this is how our mutual aid communities work. So
They better hope the fire doesn't burn too fast.
Yeah, my firm will be gone.
yeah. So we're actually taking a turn Saturday evening. We're sending an engine over to cover Berwick, so the guys don't have to respond.
Nice.
Years ago, we sent one of our tankers, an army truck, down to, what was it, Raymond, when they had that tire fire?
Raymond, New Hampshire.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was, I
on that one.
remember that.
Yeah, it was, sent them down there twice.
You sent it 2 days before the fire?
Yeah.
So the mutual aid communities are reaching out a little bit further now because of lack of manpower in the departments, certain types of equipment.
And equipment.
You know, and it's like I wouldn't come in here and ask for a ladder truck because Milton's got a ladder truck, Rochester's got one, Sanford's got one, Berwick's
Milton
got
has a
one.
ladder truck?
We don't need a ladder truck on this town.
So much worse.
It's actually not, it's not really the height that you need for, it's the reach. So if you can't get close to the building, you get the reach to get to it, so.
Don't even wanna think about it.
Thanks for everything.
No, thank you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate.
No questions.
So I'm used to getting beat up lately, so I'm good.
Well, you ought to be in the selectman's seat.
No. Nope. I appreciate them as much as, so. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good night.
Get some sleep, eh?
I'm going home to bed right now.
And leave your call, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Always, paramedic needed.
Yeah. Okay, so just to catch me up, did the minutes pass?
Yep.
Were there changes on the minutes?
Nope.
Were they brief enough?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. And they,
I really wanted a couple more pages, but
you did, oh, I'm sorry.
I'll deal with it.
Okay.
You were the only one.
Wait, before we get any further, can you take your hat off for a second? You do have hair. I don't think I've ever seen him without his hat.
Well, he takes it off for the pledge.
Oh, I didn't look at him.
He's looking at the flag, he's looking at the flag, not him.
I'm not watching him, I'm watching the flag.
I noticed that all the hats come off during the pledge,
Don't have to.
as well they should.
You can salute. It's labeled as salute flag while you're making a pledge.
Oh, really?
They changed it.
Okay.
Moved over the hat or salute,
Oh,
as long as you're respecting the flag.
Jared,
yes.
I don't know if you're doing that so you can get minutes for next week. I told him I'd take minutes, so
Oh, yay.
you don't have to,
I was
Oh,
supposed to tell you that.
you don't have to catch up.
that's nice.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I have plenty of time to do minutes.
Can you do the minutes from the last
You
meeting?
do. I don't have time to watch
Yeah,
you
she's
do.
gonna go through them all, watch them all, and then take notes and.
You tell me what they said and I'll type it up real quick.
Yeah.
There you go. And one of them didn't get broadcast, right? There was one that didn't get
That was
broadcast.
correct, I think.
Yeah.
Or actually half of it got broadcast.
Oh, really? Oh,
Good part or bad part?
I don't remember.
okay, so,
Any of them good? No.
Okay, so where are we?
okay, so what is the budget going up by? I mean, cause he reduced a lot of things.
Uh,
So the-
Overall, everything?
you mean
The
the
fire,
whole budget
just the
or
fire.
from what he
Oh, no,
had
16,
before?
Fire is.
Well, we're
going up.
adding the 53,403.
So fire's going up by about 34, almost 35.
Right,
Overall.
overall.
34,000 what?
34,899, I think I got,
Okay,
if my numbers are correct. Which is about a 7.5% increase.
That doesn't include the,
That doesn't include the one-off
Right.
items, which is the stretcher.
right,
right, but the stretch, aren't you doing the stretcher with the CIP?
Cause it, well,
No,
before,
the stretcher's a separate.
It's separate.
It's a separate
Oh,
referendum,
to just pay for it.
just to
Yeah.
pay,
the
yeah.
referendum,
Okay.
that was the referendum and the overnight's a
Same,
referendum.
same go.
So it
Oh,
doesn't
that's why
include
you,
either one of
that's
those.
why he had them written up
Yep.
like that.
Just a,
Okay.
just a separate referendum to pay for that. Yep.
Okay, so if that doesn't pass,
CIPs went up 20,000.
If that doesn't pass, then we've only gone up 7%.
Well, the fire
If those
CIP,
pass, we're going up a lot.
it was at 75 and went to 40.
Well, I mean, for what he
Another
asked for
80,000
originally,
Close to it,
it
yeah.
was 25 what we had.
well, but he did reduce,
So,
he did
yeah.
reduce his budget to cover some of this.
Mm,
$16.
yeah,
So.
yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else not covered that we didn't cover to date?
Uh-uh.
Just so you know, I'm
Yeah.
showing right now about, and I haven't checked these numbers, but I will, about an increase of about 634,000,
For the whole,
everything.
For the
Plus
whole
including
budget.
CI, this including CIPs, so think about,
everything, huh?
that's
You okay,
roads,
George?
that's roads,
That's roads too.
Oh,
that's the road CIP, that's the 500,000 for the CIP and roads. That's that.
How much was it, Chip?
I'm showing 634,830.
You don't want, do you want that in the budget? Huh?
Like I said, don't
Right.
quote me on that number yet, I haven't double checked all my numbers here, but that's what I'm showing. And just so to add to that, and this comes under new business, am I okay to,
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
don't wanna,
Mm-hmm.
the state has for, I don't know, since '05 sometime, there's something that's called LD1, which is the property tax levy
Right.
limit that you can't exceed unless you
Mhm.
have voter authorization to exceed it.
Right,
And so, obviously, we don't have to ask for it if you know you're not gonna exceed it, or if you know what your budgets are, so a lot of times, I'm not sure if the town has ever asked to exceed it. I'm not sure if they ever have. I know since I've been here, I know, but I've only been here for a long time, that
we were
don't
close
exceed it.
once, but
But I don't know if it's ever been calculated or whatever, but anyways, obviously, this number
it's gonna be,
is gonna exceed it.
yeah.
Okay, and so therefore, there needs to be a referendum question.
Oh my God, you came in.
Glad you could join us, Laura.
Sorry, I was in another meeting and I
Oh,
thought
you
it
should have not.
would
gone.
get sooner, sorry.
God.
It was just at the school, so.
Yeah.
Oh, on camera, yeah, sorry.
There has to be a question asking for authorization to exceed, the levy limit. So I'll give you an example, I think this is what it's gonna be.
So what is
think
the
about that.
levy limit right
So
now?
we don't, we have
We
to
don't have it
calculate
yet.
that, I have to, we can,
Okay,
so the article is gonna read, shall the town increase the property tax levy limit estimated at, and we'll have that number. So, but shall we increase that as established by Lebanon by state law in the event the municipal budget approved under the preceding and following articles will result in a tax commitment that is greater than the property tax levy limit or any other property tax limit established under Rule 30 MRSA, blah, 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 blah. The final limit cannot be calculated until the end of the summer, that's when we do our commitment.
Right.
So again, we don't have that number.
Right.
Which is why we have to ask for authorization beforehand. We can also put in a note, although it's not required, and I know another town does this, they put in a note that if the articles are voted on, as the select board recommended them, the estimated override amount would be blank. So at least people have an idea of how much we're trying to override the levy limit by. If this is a no, everybody, we can vote for everything else, and this is a no, then come tax amendment, and once we figure out whatever that limit is,
Yeah, so then what do you
then I
do?
believe, again, I don't know this yet, but I believe the selectmen then need to cut budgets to get under that limit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I remember going to a
The
workshop
people-
about that.
The people authorize the money, but then we have to cut the limit so we don't exceed that.
Right.
Which again is gonna be confusing to people, gonna say, well, we authorize it, guess what?
Yeah.
If
Doesn't matter.
the big number is 600 and the big number is roads and this gets turned down, guess what? Probably roads is gonna get cut.
Do that all the time, don't you?
So do you want this to pass?
What?
Don't make this your first referendum, but that's the last one.
Well, I'm just saying, but it needs to be, so again, and I think where this is money related, this is a budget committee vote. I reckon, this goes under the budget committee as far as,
Yeah, you're right.
and so I think,
There was always, anytime we was here, they was always telling us what it was before we even done our budget, how much the percentage was, we could change it, you can't go over this. They knew what the
Right.
percentage was before we ever,
who's they?
selectmen, and they
Selectmen.
told us.
Have you,
Yes.
No, they would give you a number.
She does it all the time, so.
Yeah. Well, there's a growth number, but are you guys fiscal year or calendar year?
the fiscal year, and if you don't have this year's, you do it to the most current known year, so that you have
Well,
that
we'll
number.
have the levy limit.
And that's all you need when you go to town meeting.
Right.
And the referendum question, you can do whatever you want.
But,
Really should be the first one,
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
because if it's
A lot of
not,
these are, right.
Yeah,
no, I'm talking
No.
about the old utility.
No, I'm saying a lot of, the ones I saw, it was the first one.
Yeah.
yeah, it should be.
Override it. And then, you or the budget committee, the selectmen need to be prepared, every single budget to read, oh no, you do a whole big giant budget. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All at once.
Yeah, see, we have town meeting where each budget, and we have to stand up quickly and say, this amount will be reduced by such and such, because
Yeah.
one didn't pass.
yeah, that's the way it used to be.
So when you have it
Used to be.
a one great big giant vote on the whole budget, there's obviously a different process that I have no idea.
And that's what I think is that we will then have to sit down, and I don't know whether,
Doesn't it have to be revoted on though, by the
You
town?
would think so.
No,
well, no, I don't think.
I don't think
because-
so.
No,
This is the vote. If they say no.
right, if they say no, that's,
they've already said no.
No, but she's saying, wouldn't you
Then why would
have,
you move forward and vote on,
Which one?
government operations for
Right.
50 million and,
Well, so I don't know whether we would then have to reduce each budget down below whatever that limit is. But the problem is, let's say you have a budget that didn't go up, and the budget that went way up, so like roads, the road CIP is the one that went way up. You know, so then, that's the one that has to get reduced, because the overall budget that we have to get below that number.
Yeah, but
But you
you
have to
can take it out of all kinds of budgets, you know.
right, doesn't have to
You
be
could make
one.
everybody feel pain.
Right,
You could do, I mean, again, the board would have to decide as a board how they wanna reduce the budgets to meet that limit.
yeah,
If this is, but that's why it needs to be clear to the voters and hopefully in our newsletters that if they vote this down, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't matter what they vote on the other ones, if they won't be able to exceed. So if you want roads, if you want the road CIP, then you really almost need to vote for this. 'Cause that's the big overriding
They could vote
one.
yes for everything,
right,
That's right.
but they vote no
And
on
they vote
override.
no for this, that's right. And it will totally screw it all up.
Yes.
Yep.
remind them, they better vote yes,
Well, but what I'm saying is the overriding one is the roads.
right. It
And
is,
that's like $400,000 higher, that's the biggest one so the bottom line is if you vote for the road CIP, you need to vote yes for this, cause if you don't, you're not gonna get your roads done. Cause that's where you're gonna see most of your cut. If we have to, if the board has to cut, that's where most of the cut's gonna come out of, because that's the one that went up the most.
I don't know about that, that
So
sounds
you
vaguely
still
like
don't
a
have any
threat.
idea what.
Well, no, it's just, where else do you cut?
It's just the easiest.
I don't
You
know.
have $400,000 out of general government, you can't.
No, you can't, but,
The selectmen are the ones who have to decide where the
Right.
cuts are coming from,
I believe
along
so.
with the budget committee, if that's the way your process is gonna work. But you might wanna check on having town meeting approve those those things where you've taken it out of, things that have changed. We have to do it right there that day.
Yeah, that's because you have a town meeting vote.
So we-
yes, they
It's not
do.
a secret ballot.
But if you're changing the budgets that were already voted on, and then you're making some of them less,
Yeah,
I
like I
mean,
said,
yeah, they're
I
all
don't,
gonna say, yeah, sure, make them less.
like I said, I don't know the answer to that
Yeah,
question.
you might wanna call MMA lead,
Yeah,
just to
yeah,
be sure you
yeah,
put it, that's all.
Yeah.
After all these years, I still miss town meeting.
Yep.
You don't, huh? You wish you didn't have
Nobody
it?
goes.
You only got 1 year left.
Oh, really?
One more town meeting.
Yeah, no, well, people used to go, Skip.
Yeah, they used to.
They didn't like the hot seat when they sat up front.
But I'm just saying, there's gonna be this article on there because we're obviously gonna exceed.
People now, anyway, we wouldn't even have any place to go.
So,
Right.
Well, don't feel bad, Alfred's going over to, right now it's at 240 and we're still working on the budget, trying to get that down. But over 240,000 on the LD one.
Well, I mean, a lot of this has to do with the fact that we've had a lousy
Right.
economy
Oh, yeah.
for the last.
Main revenue doesn't give us as much money as they used to, people aren't buying new cars, so you don't get your excise fees.
Right.
There's so many things that go into it.
People living in campgrounds not paying excise tax on their New Hampshire vehicles.
Yeah, and the Lebanon's assessment not being
That's
where it
right.
should be, I mean, you don't have the money coming in.
People are still doing that. Register.
You missed the meeting
you
before the
kidding?
meeting, sorry.
I mean, I'm just
Unbelievable.
surprised because I thought the statey was. I thought that's one
No,
of the
we
things
don't
that
have
he was
them, we
doing.
don't have them anymore.
Seriously?
Seriously,
no, the Maine State Police don't normally do that. The town had hired a constable.
Right,
from Kittery.
to do it.
Oh.
And that was more or less a waste. I mean, it wasn't a waste of money, but I mean, he didn't really do much.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, I think we recovered some tax money, but.
I had a rental car in my driveway.
Yeah, right.
You could have run the plates and known that it wasn't mine. But, silly me.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's worth doing every once in a while, every X amount of years, whatever, but. and then-
Well, it'd also be worth it if neighbors actually kept their eyes open.
I mean, when we hear
said
about it,
something
when
to
we hear
people.
about it, we'll send a letter out.
I mean, if my next door neighbor had a New Hampshire plate, I would go over and say, hey, you gotta do something about this. Because if you don't, I might take matters into my own hands.
Good thing you don't have my neighbors.
Steal nothing.
Yeah. No, seriously, I mean, neighbors don't watch out for neighbors anymore anyway, so I guess that doesn't matter.
I don't know, got a nice little quiet spot up on Going Avenue.
Neighbors watch neighbors all the time.
I mean, they-
Yeah, watch out for
Just to see what they can find a bitch about.
Okay, so is that it for new business? Anything else on the LED lights?
Nope, he's coming in
Next Thursday.
next Thursday.
Okay. So are we gonna have something more or looking at, that's gonna be a referendum question, right?
Right, we talked about next.
We talked about possibly doing that rather than,
Yeah.
it would be just easier just to by itself, this one
Yeah.
line item. And that's not in the number I gave you, so.
Okay.
Number's climbing.
And neither is assessing in that number, because we never really talked about that.
I thought we did talk
we
about
did.
it. We did, we
We talked
accelerated.
about it.
We
We
did
talked
talk
about it
it.
last week.
So is that, we're looking to put that on?
It was in the minutes.
Yeah. It was in the minutes.
It is in the minutes.
Well, I know we talked
Accelerated.
about it, but I didn't know whether the board was more or less in agreement that you guys wanted to put it in for this coming.
I thought we kinda didn't have a choice. I mean, cause we have to get the assessing done to get the taxes normalized.
Well, I mean, there's always a choice. So we have 47,000 that's
Right.
already in general government, which is doing our assessing already with the
Right.
current process. So right now we have like a 6-year
Right.
process. The last 2 years is more than 47, but right now we're still in those first 4 that are 47. Okay, so, but this is, we're about to start the 3rd year. So this is to try to accelerate this now, because we need the money because of all this other stuff.
Right now it's 47,
It's 47.
so what would the acceleration number be?
It's, the number I gave you is the
85.
is additional to that.
85, 335,
85.
Yep,
335.
that was on that.
So,
I thought the accelerated number was 47.
No,
No, that's what it is now.
That's what it is
Oh, this-
normally.
so you want, okay, so changing the minutes?
Oh,
Accelerate to 85,000 a year for 3
it's
years?
whatever's on,
Just
it's,
the 1
no, it's
year.
not 3 years, it's,
1 year and then next year, 85 for
Okay, so this is accelerate,
Oh,
85,000.
so that projection sheet
1
that
year.
Skip has 2 years of the big numbers.
Right, and it goes to next year.
And then it finally drops off.
Second year, 51, 135, and then,
Then it goes down to 32.
And those
How
are the
many years?
additional above the 47.
so I guess there's a change in the
what,
minutes.
20
There
years?
is a change in the
No,
minutes,
it's
and then the
normal.
3rd year,
Normal
what?
Oh,
It
okay.
drops to 30, is it 30 or drops to 37 or 32?
32, 3.
2-3.
32, 3.
32,300.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
All right, can you
Yeah.
tell that one again?
Okay, so the first
First
so the
year
first
is-
year is 85,000, right?
85, 335.
Over and above.
330.
335.
47?
So that would be a
Yeah.
that would be a
So it'd be
separate referendum
132
item
totally.
Second year,
Uh-huh.
asking for that
51,
amount, which,
What is it?
which
51,
accelerates.
135.
okay, so I got that in here somewhere.
Because if it fails, we still have the 47 in the general.
Third year,
Okay,
That's why it's
Then
10.
it just goes down to a 32.
okay.
32, 3.
So-
That's the third year, 32, 3?
So is that
So
added
the-
on to
so
this
the-
number?
Okay.
The next year.
So the
Yeah, it's
85,
not-
That's all basically then said.
so the 85
Then after that-
is in addition to the 47.
That's correct.
Okay,
We're not
so,
broke.
okay. So you're looking for an additional 85
That's correct.
for the first year.
Yeah,
And then for the second year, it's the 47
additional-
plus the
Right,
51.
an additional
51.
right.
and
And then the
year.
third year is 47
Everything drops.
plus.
No,
No, it
everything
just
drops. 40,
Okay.
the 47 drops to 32,300 and nothing additional.
And the assessment would be complete.
And the assessment will be complete after the
And-
first year, after the first number. It's the way it is,
But we're
it's
still paying
April, it's
for it.
April 1st, so you're, you know what I'm saying, yeah, you're still paying for it, but it's, the new numbers are.
But it
So
would
if
be,
this passes, the new numbers will be next April.
Okay. So then the assessment should be truer for the town. The assessments
Yeah.
for the,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, very true.
next
Should
year
be
you
caught
should
up.
pull in more by
So it
town.
doesn't help, it won't help us with this budget this
Right.
coming year, but it will the following year when, again, don't forget, we're
The
only
first
doing, we're
October,
only doing
right.
500 for the roads right now. And then we're gonna put a non-binding referendum whether we wanna do a bond, we wanna increase, so the assessment will help the second year when that number hopefully will go up. Does that make sense?
I just hope people
Yeah.
realize what they're paying for.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I just had $3 million bond, I think my taxes are going up $1,500 just on my house.
Really?
Not counting my other piece of property.
You figured that out?
$300,000 house, $6 a thousand. You figure it out.
$6 a thousand is pretty cheap in today's, in
That's
May.
what it's gonna go up, is 6,000.
Oh, it's gonna go up.
$6
Okay,
a
sorry.
thousand.
That's if we did it for 3 million.
Right,
Right.
We're not doing it for 3 million.
unless it passes.
No, he's not asking for 3
Nobody's
million.
asking for
That's how
3
you
We
million.
set up
threw
with the
that out.
referendum on.
No, there's a non-binding.
Binding.
Right.
It's asking people how they wanna, whether they wanna
Yeah, how they wanna
spend the
approach
money
the
on
road.
roads.
bond, whether they wanna spread it out, I mean, those, yeah, that's a non-binding. So that, because again, if they say they wanna do a bond, then November's in time to do that, ask for that authorization. If they wanna do something else, then they wait till the following June, but.
For once, I'm glad my house isn't worth a lot.
So no, if you're talking 700,000,
Half
then
the
it's 50
addition?
per, so that's 50 times, so that's 14, that's a, $140.
And you still gotta add on the streetlights and stuff, right? Cause that's not in there.
Yeah, I'm just 700,000, maybe $140. And that's assuming no growth.
Right.
That's assuming no additional revenues.
What do we?
Because don't forget, we get additional revenues, we have additional revenues from code, we have additional revenues from the ambulance, because their calls have gone up. So when we look at those numbers, those revenue numbers, even though we use a 3-year average, that number's gonna bump up. And then you have property tax increases because you have new homes. So that's additional revenue. So that's all calculated into that commitment number.
Yeah.
So when I say $1.40, $1.60, whatever that number is, that's assuming everything is the same. And everything is not gonna be the same.
There's no way a $3 million bond would have passed, not with as many things.
On top of that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
On top of all the other stuff.
Well, we wouldn't have done the roads wouldn't have been up as high,
Well,
but still, right. Yep.
okay. Old business, anything else you need to cover? Anybody else?
Nada.
Going once, going twice?
Sold.
Sold.
Yeah, okay, so next week is cleanup and unfinished business, so anything that's outstanding, I don't have any outstanding questions.
No. Just the street light thing.
Yeah, well, he's coming, what,
Right.
tomorrow?
Thursday.
No, next.
No, next Thursday.
Oh, okay, so we
we'll
won't
miss
have
that.
anything,
Nope.
okay.
So did the selectmen?
We'll have that, we'll have that for the final vote.
Okay.
Okay, so for the vote on the 20th,
And so if we have to answer some questions ahead of time, we can do that.
Okay.
But my guess is, what did we say, 20,000? So my guess is 20,000 is enough to do it.
I thought you needed 33 to replace them all.
Right.
No.
We already have a current budget amount in
Oh, okay.
general
Oh,
government
okay.
that's gonna cover
Okay.
most of it, but
Okay,
we don't know about the timing and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So
okay,
the 20,000 for just a line item to replace streetlights.
okay.
I was just gonna ask about the recycling. You guys decide what you're gonna do with it?
As far
Another question.
as far as
Non-binding question.
I think we're leaning that we're doing a non-binding referendum and asking the people. I mean, it's
What are we gonna ask?
whether they want to recycle. I mean, if we have options, in other words, right now, we're paying for recycling
Right.
a higher cost for what we recycle than what we put for regular waste. So,
Like 24,000.
so one person might say, well then, why don't
What
we
is
just
it,
throw,
24,000?
why don't we just throw everything in the primary dumpster? Just call it a day, and don't recycle.
Well, isn't it $40 a ton more?
And you save money. So that's one option. There's a couple of other options. Cardboard is actually paying a decent rate, so do we do a cardboard? So there's a couple of different options there. But I don't know how people want, I mean, there's a lot of people that like to recycle. They feel good
Yes.
about recycling.
I think our town is one of the better towns for
So
recycling.
how do you handle it?
But if it's
Yeah,
not
but it's
going
costing you
anywhere,
$24,000.
it's just going into
But
the
people
regular
want to
trash.
do it.
Well,
I'm saying.
it is being recycled.
being
Oh, okay.
So it's not like it's not being recycled, it is. The
Okay.
problem is that it costs more money. The market for it has gone down and it costs more money to process it. So we end up having to pay for that.
Oh, okay.
So it does go out.
So it's
then, it
not
just-
gonna be recycled if they decide not to, if they decide not to save the 24,000.
Then it doesn't get recycled, it just goes to the landfill.
Not everything that we think that we recycle is gonna be recyclable.
No, he fell
It's different types of,
and he broke
Requirements.
vertebrae in his back.
like the hard plastics, they don't want
He
that.
did?
Everything's gonna change. with
They don't want hard plastics?
Well, you know like the plastic, like you
On the ice.
wrap or something,
and stuff.
like you buy something that's in a plastic packaging, that plastic.
Oh, yeah.
Light on.
Still
The
fell.
area with the neck on it, he said basically is.
But he's home now and
So it's
fine, it's just gonna take a long time.
so it's hard for us as a
Back
board
brace
of
on.
three to figure out what are the people
A
that
lot of pain.
how do you, so,
You
Right, the
know,
market may come back.
Medical marijuana.
Might, something.
well, yeah, it may not, I mean, it may come 10 years, so you may get
Demand goes up
10 years until.
and again,
in my
and
mother
up and down.
So,
Same as everything.
it's kinda like we're damned if we do, damned if we don't, so we're gonna ask the people and then
pretty recovered.
What do you wanna do?
the board of five will, so the budget may be
Now it's his
high,
turn.
It may not need to be that much, but you gotta plan as though
Oh, well, tell them I'm
you're gonna recycle, which is how it is now.
Even the people, companies that are taking your recycles right now, they are stockpiling that stuff sky high. They don't even
This
know if they're gonna be.
Everything that she printed for the fire department.
So if they choose to sell
I'm going to
recycles,
make the
they may
motion
end
to
up with
adjourn the
trash
meeting so
anyway.
we can.
So he
Even
even
though
said
they-
that if more people do this, then they're gonna run out of, they're being ready to run out of
Gotta wait.
landfill space, which that would then cause a premium.
What a shame.
You guys adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And
Yeah, Judy says it, yeah,
all in favor of adjourning?
shut the thing.